For your
Senator
testimony.
Carper, Senator Cornyn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Smith, maybe I'll start with you. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act contained about $3.8 billion for CBP, including $450 million directly appropriated to CBP and another $3 billion for the General Services Administration that can be used for port of entry modernization. Would you comment on the current state of those facilities, that infrastructure, that technology, and what additional investments or what additional things that the United States government should do to facilitate the flow of legitimate trade and commerce across our border? Southern border is what I'm thinking about, obviously, coming from Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. I think we have a tremendous tremendous opportunity with a huge investment in our physical infrastructure. 2 points I would make. One, many of the ports of entry are constrained by their physical footprint. They just don't have room to grow. I do believe, as I mentioned in my testimony, we have an opportunity to think about what a green lane looks like to facilitate low-risk trade. And so as
green lane means you wave it on through.
Wave
right?
it on through. We have good partners, compliant partners, low-risk trade. We have the technology. Let's apply it to build a process that supports a green lane. The second thing I would note is that, as I mentioned in my testimony, physical infrastructure isn't the only thing we need for a process. The technology and the expertise of the customs personnel are as critical, I believe, as physical infrastructure.
Well, of course, I'm very familiar with the men and women in blue who work at our ports of entry along the southern border between Mexico and Texas. And, you know, frequently when we talk about Mexico, we talk about our southern border, I will hear people say we should seal the border, which, if you come from Texas, strikes me as very odd. And I guess if you think about it, it's pretty odd because Mexico is our single largest trading partner. And U.S. companies amount to more than half of Mexico's foreign investment. So, Ms. Allen, I imagine FedEx does a lot of business in Mexico. Is that correct?
Yes, we do business in 220 countries around the world, so we definitely have a presence in Mexico and have a robust business in Texas, actually operating foreign trade zones in Texas, which we support very heavily.
Me too. Well, I know FedEx has a big portfolio, but just focusing now on Mexico, I remember when China became fashionable because of the low cost for manufacturing in China, and a lot of manufacturing moved from Mexico to China. Now we're seeing a reversal of that because of concerns about supply chains and because of the rising hostility of the Chinese Communist Party. And now we're looking for friendshoring or other friendly places where we can secure those supply chains. And Mexico, given the fact that they're already a major trading partner of the United States, would seem like a logical place for those manufacturing facilities to land as part of that friendshoring. There also strikes me as other benefits to the United States just because of we are tied, our economies and our countries are tied together by a common border, and anything we can do to help Mexico help itself and prosper and create jobs and economic opportunity would take a lot of pressure, I think, off of the border itself in terms of illegal migration, but also would benefit the United States because through increased trading opportunities. Would you share some thoughts on that topic?
Firstly, I'll say, we are very in favor of trade across the southern border. Our FedEx jobs, we say all of our jobs are trade jobs. Almost 600,000 individuals around the world, they are part of trade. So we have a presence in Mexico. I share Ms. Smith's opinion that the infrastructure is a challenge on the southern border, as well as, staffing. We support additional staffing at the ports. We've found in our experience that additional staffing given to those ports of entry have better outcomes and facilitate trade in a much more efficient manner. I also believe that, that bidirectional education that happens between trade and CBP is a good thing. We do meet with our CBP colleagues and the Mexican customs authorities to ensure that we have good working relationships to facilitate trade and share best practices and ideas across that border every chance we get.